Hey everyone, so my name is Leon, and today I want to do Survivor winners ranking list. So let's title, there we go. So in this video, I kind of want to talk about each of the winners that has won the game so far. So we have 38 winners over 40 seasons. That means we had two-time winners, which is pretty interesting. And Survivor 41 is coming back in the fall, so I'm excited about that. You know what I mean? It's gonna be a good list. I already have my tiers and who I think is gonna be in the top, middle, and bottom tiers. So to keep it suspenseful, I want to start off with the bottom tier. And I'll be honest, the way how I did this list is not based off their winning games, but based on them as overall players. So maybe they had one season where they dominated the season, but maybe other seasons they wasn't as good. So yeah, with that being said, let's jump into it. Who do I think is the worst winner in the history of Survivor? Unfortunately, that tie goes to Natalie Wright. Bam. So the reason I think that Natalie Wright is the worst winner is because she benefited tremendously from Russell. She had a decent social game. She got everybody to like her, but she didn't do much in the game other than rely on her social game to get to the end. I don't think she did anything insightful in terms of like strategy. Yeah, she kind of turned some of the women against Eric Cardona, but other than that, that's pretty much it. Russell played that game hard. Russell should have won that season. Maybe I won a few, I won a many. Doesn't matter. Not that Natalie Wright's a bad person. Just as a gameplay, I don't think she should have won that season. And she's the worst winner for me. Moving on, let's go to the second worst winner of all time, Jenna Maraska. And here's why I think Jenna's the worst winner. She won the game, but she won against somebody that no one expected. The real strategic threat of that season got brought out third. Obviously, as we know, Rob Cisnero, aka the guy who was RHAP, really got small, successful guy. He just couldn't win the last challenge, and Jenna bowled him out. So it's unfortunate. Or was it Matthew? Matthew Pond bowled him out. Either way, Jenna had a rocky game. She had allies. She was able to get the votes. But like I said, I do this based off of players' overall games over multiple seasons, and she left early also, so she wasn't able to really do much on the second season. And unfortunately, it's because of a personal matter. Still, though, at the same time, I'm not confident in Jenna's ability to get to the end. And if she didn't win the challenges in the first season, I don't think she gets to the end anyway. So moving on, the first guy we're going to talk about here is, where is he at? Where is he at? Where is he located? Oh, there you go, Bob Crowley. Nice guy, but I don't think he's a good winner as well. I think he, just like Jenna, he relied on winning challenges at the end. All of his allies got bowled out early, and he barely won against Susie and Sugar. Susie was a runner-up, and she lost at one vote. So congratulations to Bob. And if it wasn't for Sugar trying to make sure he helped him get to end in the 5-minute challenge, he doesn't get there anyway. So that's all I gotta say about Bob. He's the third worst winner. Next person I'm gonna talk about is Perceptia. Perceptia, nice lady, very small lady, but in terms of the game, she didn't really have control of the game. It was kind of the idea to turn on the initial lines, the majority over there, the row to 4, and she grabbed Perceptia, Sean, Nelia, and Pascal to make the move, and it was Kathy who kind of able to help take out the row to 4 one by one. And then Perceptia, the best thing that Perceptia did do was to take out Kathy in final 3. That was a winning move. But as a game player, kind of was too passive and didn't really have much control either. So that's why I put her that low. The next person, unfortunately, I gotta put Ethan Zahn here. Other than his winning game in Survivor Africa, in the also game, he didn't make the merge. And in Winners at War, he kind of had a rocky start. He was the guy that lined us up with Poverty and Boston Rob, and he couldn't go to the merge, unfortunately. But he did make jury because of the twist that season. So I'm not as high in the game as a lot of people are. Very nice guy though. Does a lot of good charity work, but unfortunately not a good winner in my opinion. So that's why he's this low. The next person I'm gonna talk about is Chris Daughtery. The reason I have Chris Daughtery this low is because he's also somebody that had a decent control in the early stages of the game, but then the merge lost some allies and was unfortunately the only guy there for half of the merge. And he was a great liar and got us to end to win, but and that's impressive on itself. But at the same time, he lost control early merge, and I gotta deduct points over that. And I don't find this game as impressive as a lot of people. So moving on, next person we're gonna talk about Fabio, aka Judd. They call him Fabio's nickname. Someone that also had to win out, and if he didn't win out, he would have been voted out probably like on final 7, final 6. And yes, he was able to play under the radar, play like a surfer bro, pretend not to know what he's doing, but was able to skate by in the game and was able to get the votes of the two quitters, Naonka and Purple Kelly, to win the game. If they're out the jury because they quit, then Chase Rice wins the game. So I don't think that that's a good game either, even though he went out, like won out, what I'm saying. So there he is in the list. Next person we're going to talk about, JT. Pretty good winner, had a great first game, but his game has just gotten worse each time he played. And the second time, he gave him the idol to Russell, got voted out because he didn't know Russell and Poverty was going to work together. And then this game changed the game, didn't realize that Michaela and Sandra and Jeff Bonner had the numbers to take him out, and he didn't have the awareness to use the item himself. So JT, messy game. Fortunately, he's down this low. Next person, Danny Boatwright. Pretty under the radar player. Was able to win because was able to hide a strategy a lot. Was able to hide what she was doing, but unfortunately, when it's a wall, she didn't have no leeway, and she tried to work with Boston Rob and Poverty, but they turned on her. That's it. She tried her best, but didn't do much on her season. So moving on, and last person on his bottom tier is Amber. Amber, who's Boston Rob's wife. She played 3 times. She got voted out early winners award, but that's kind of her fault. Then it kind of is because she tried to rely on social game, and that's not enough, especially if you're attached to Boston Rob. But I would say this: the reason I rank her a little higher than most of the lower bottom tier players because of her game in Survivor, the Amazon Outback. She did get to final 6, and she had a decent under radar social game. Was able to fly on the radar for a little bit, and made the final 6, and I had to give her credit for that. And she did beat Boston Rob All Stars, even though it was like a bit of jury kind of situation. So let's give her credit there. Anyways, the bottom tier's over. Let's move on to the low tier. With a low tier, a lot of the people you notice are people who got voted out or had to win out to get to the end. Speaking of voted out, Tina. And when I'm talking about voted out, meaning voted out and then came back because of a twist. So Tina Weston voted out twice, played 3 times, but got to the end 2 of those 3 times. Won the first season, which is Australian Outback, and then made it to, she was the first Buddha All Stars. She had no chance there. She was one of the winners. Then in Blood vs. Water, she made a merge, which was good, but then she got voted out and then came back due to a Jameson Island twist. So good for her, but unfortunately she got voted out and it came back in the same season. So I gotta give her points deducted for that. Played a very good social game, decent physically, but very good social player. But unfortunately this low. Here's a player that I want to rank a little higher, but unfortunately got voted out, came back and sees that he won, which is Chris Underwood. Used the agitation well, was able to convince Lauren to use her idol on him, and was also able to convince Rick to give him the other half an idol, make sure that Rick Devins was a close ally of his until he took him out in the fire making challenge. Chris, from the final 6 onwards, played a great, fantastic game. It's just that he was bullied out third, and he missed a lot of the game, so got the points for that too. But if he wasn't bullied out this season, if he just played regularly and got to the end like that, I'll put him like probably at mid tier or good tier. But he got bullied out, he missed most of the game, so he's this low. Next person I'm gonna put here, and you're not gonna like this, even though she's a pretty good player. I gotta put Natalie Anderson next because she was bullied out and came back in the same season, even though she got to the end. Okay, I'm just gonna put it here and switch it. But yeah, Natalie Anderson, pretty good player. Her first season was really good. She was able to blindside John Miss, Baylor, bunch of people. Second season though, Winners at War. Didn't play well. Was the first boot, and I got her the points off of that. You know, she came back kind of like Chris. Final six. They used two idols. Was able to get the end, but no one voted for her because well, not nobody. A few people voted for her, but good player. Just had some stuff she had to work on. You know, maybe could have been better socially that season. I'm talking about Winners at War, and the other season, same one as her, great socially. Just Winners at War. She rubbed a few people the wrong way, probably, so that's why they didn't give her a vote. And she was the first vote that season, so it's unfortunate. But move on to the next person. Next person I'm gonna put up here, Mike Holloway. Somebody who had to win out. Very good strategically, good socially, good physically, but had a high threat level until the mid merge. And as soon as Joe left, he was like the biggest target, the guy with the best chance to win. So obviously he had to win now. He had his idol, so good job there. But could have worked on lower threat level. And if he didn't win out, he would have got bored out after Joe. So good player, but gotta put him this low because he almost got bored out. Speaking of idol immunity ones, Ben. Ben is the next person. Used I think 3 or 4 idols, probably 3 idols to get to the end, and had a 5 mega challenge to help him get there. And no one knew what the 5 mega challenge was gonna be a permanent thing, so you cannot deduct end points for that. But kind of like Mike Holloway, he was supposed to be the next boot before he went on the idol one. So good for Ben to recognize that he was a big threat and was able to use the idol to protect himself. So that's the end of the low tier. Next, we're gonna go to the mid tier, and the mid tier we're gonna start with Aris. Where is he? He is right here. He's somebody who did a good job in his first season, but then Blood vs. Water, he was able to get to the merge, able to run his tribe and everything, to do a lot of things, but became super big threat. Some of that Tyson actively targeted for other players to take him out of the game, play with his brother. Pretty good socially, good physically. Strategically, he's okay. I think Sari carried him strategically in the first season, and he did had alliance with Tina in the second season, Blood vs. Water. So he's okay in that end, but really good physically and socially for this first season. That's all I just say. Next person we're gonna talk about, Adam Klein, one of my favorite players. Like favorite players that I like to watch personally, but he's a mid-tier winner to me. He does a lot of moves. He knows what his correct move to do. He knows what the optimal move is. It's just that can he execute it? Sometimes he can, sometimes he couldn't. You know, when was the Zeke boat out for this first season for Millennials versus Jet X, he used Idol to save Hannah, but he kind of wasted it because Will was able to outsmart him and was able to write that she was bowling for one name where it was supposed to be for the other name. So Adam also did a blunder playing his idol for I think Hannah. Did he find 3 idols that season? He did, I think. Probably did. It doesn't matter. No, he didn't. He played 2 idols. The other idol was the first idol that Hannah got was from David Wright actually, and then he told David the wrong name, and then they burned it because they got confused. Anyways, Adam's a pretty solid player. Knows what he's doing. Blowing out Figgy in the pre-merge of his first season, Millennial Gen X, turned out to be a good move to work out for him. Got alliance with Jessica, and then later on David and Ken. So appreciate that. Wins that was a little shaky. He was playing for the bottom. He kind of overplayed and got him in trouble. He made some merge surprisingly, so more power to him. Anyways, moving on. Next player in the mid tier. Where's she at? There she goes, Denise. Denise, very good socially. Strategically, has a moments, good moments, but really her best strategic move was taking out Sandra. Even though she kind of burned an idol on Jeremy to make sure she went home, but she was able to recognize that Sandra was her biggest threat. But at the same time, maybe it was too early to do a move like that. But it doesn't matter. She had great social game and was able to, in her first season, to get by just based on social game, despite of the people, her tribe specifically going to tribal council. So more power to her. Physically, pretty good. Can win some challenges, depending on the challenge it is. But very good socially. Very good socially. Moving on though to the next person. Where is he at? There he goes. Another mid-tier winner, Tyson. Won Blood vs. Water. Pretty good strategically. Well, he grew as a strategic player. He wasn't really good strategic in his first season. No offense. But He's going to strategical player, very good physically, very good socially actually. Despite of build that connection with coach in his first few seasons, build a connection with Boston Rob, still friends with Boston Rob to this day. Somebody's a good all around threat, and we was able to see that in Blood vs. Water. But in other seasons, he either brought in correctly for poverty or was seen as too big of a threat to get far. So, and he was brought out pre-jury once, so I gotta use that against him. Well, really twice, but the second time he came back and made the merge. So good for Tyson. Yeah, I put him there. I think we're halfway through now, and the last person for the mid tier, and it's kind of blasphemous to put him in the mid tier because he's the first winner, but Richard has the mid tier winner to me. Very good strategically, very smart, knows what his optimal move is, knows how to execute it. Majority of times, yeah, All Stars was kind of a bad season for him because just like many of the winners in low like winner based All Star seasons, doesn't really have a chance. Same with Ethan and Tina, they was all in trouble in that All Star season. But Richard Hatch and Borneo played really well, was able to get out the right person at the right time, and was able to align with the right people to get to the end. And with him and his lads were able to use Sean's strategy of the alphabet strategy to their advantage to get out the people that they need to get out. So good for Richard. Head of his time strategically, got him good credit. Next person I'm gonna put is Brian Heidick. Another good strategical threat, very aggressive in his gameplay. Somebody that was the old version of someone like a Tony, someone like the Tonys, the Joe Menas, the War Dog types. Somebody who's very strategically aggressive. Somebody who very cutthroat, knows what his optimal move is. I give him credit. Yeah, Thailand was like a weird season, but somebody who he knew how to execute and knew who to take at the right time and knew who to take with him to the end, to play to the end with him, even though he barely won. He won. Good job by him. Moving on. Todd Herzog. Very good strategically. Somebody that knew who to surround himself with at the right time, knew when to take out threats like James, helped James get two idols and then took him out before he could use two idols. I think that's really cold but really good move. Surround himself with people that other people wouldn't vote for, or they didn't really respect game wise. Like Amanda, no one was gonna vote for her at the end. As you know, was able to find loyal allies like Amanda and Connie to go to end with so that he could win. Very good strategically, very good, and very underrated strategically too. Next person was I think it's Tom. Yep, Tom Westman. Somebody who had good control over his tribe, very good physically at the time, was able to win the game with Ian, was able to win some last few challenges. So when they tried to target him, they couldn't. Very good physically, and was able to lead his tribe, most of not all the tribe, to the merge. I think that was a really good job by Tom Westman, one of the better players at the time. Moving on to the next person, who the last non All-Star winner, Tommy Sheehan, even though he's a very good physical threat, and someone's also on a challenge right now, by the way. Very good physical threat, but somebody who didn't use his physicality to help him win the game. That makes sense. Somebody that knew what his the correct move was. Somebody who was very good socially, very good at convincing people to do stuff that's bad for their game, but good for his game. Like Chrisman and Lane was able to get them to go after Missy, even though it was best for their interest to go out to keep Missy and to go after him. Very good socially, and he's very good physically when he needs to, but he didn't use his physicality to win the game. So good for him. Much credit to Tommy Sheehan. He's one of the better winners of the modern day Survivor. Next person, we'll talk about Earl. To me, kind of similar to Tommy. Good socially. Somebody's very likable. Somebody who also had to surround himself with the right allies like Yalman, Dreams, and Cassandra, and other allies like Boo as well. Was able to create the relationships and to be able to have decent control of the game. More props to him. I think that's the end of the good tier. So now we're gonna get to the high tier, which is the second highest tier. Where's the next person on my list? There he goes, Yo. So I'll put Yo in the high tier because his first season, Cook Islands, good job, very analytical, very strategic, very cerebral, very good at the picking up the game and knowing what his optimal move is, use his idol, I think it's called a guide idol, to his advantage to convince Penna to work with him, convince other people in the game to align with him, and was able to get to the end with his people, with Ozzy and I think Sandra, and I forgot the other lady's name, but yeah, very good at getting himself, using his manages to get himself to end. Good job by you. His second time around though, if he made a merge, I would put him a little bit higher, but he didn't make the merge, even though he made jury because of the winners at War twist. But unfortunately, in the tribe he was swapped to, he was kind of swap screwed because he swapped into a tribe where all his allies were there, with Parby, who someone he played the first season with, and the rest of the allies, Wendell, decent relationship with Nick and Michelle, who's very close to, had a earlier game alliance and everything. So yeah, well, pre-game alliance with. I think good job by you by getting as far as could. Just couldn't go farther. Moving on to the next person though, Michelle. The reason I put Michelle over Yul because obviously she won the first season. She's also someone who's on the challenge right now, by the way, which I'm surprised at, but that's neither here nor there. Michelle, very good socially, pretty good socially, couldn't be good physically, and strategically, she is alright, I guess strategically, but her social game carries her a lot. And the fact that people don't think she's a physical threat, but she could win the late game challenges as well. And the wins at War, she got to the end without any. She had one advantage, but there was a coin toss thing. But she was able to get to the end at all winner season. She was never out of all the winners who played more than once. She was never voted out. So good for her. You gotta give her credit. That's why I put her this high. But I cannot put higher than the next person, which is one of my favorite winners, Wendell. Somebody who got to the end with somebody who's a more dominant player from a game's perspective, but somebody who had a good under the radar game, somebody who ran things from behind the scenes, somebody who was able to work with a player who's dominating like Dominic. I was able to get to end with him and beat him because of his social relationships. And it's a very good triple threat. Good physically, good socially, good strategically. So gotta give Wendell credit. And he did get to the merge and winners at War. People saw him, Nick and Michelle as an obvious triple threat, so they took him out. So it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Wendell, one of my favorite winners of all time. Moving on to Sophie. Sophie's another high tier winner based on her. I think her South Pacific game was okay, but her winners at War game was pretty impressive. And Tony didn't take out final 9. She could have at least got to final 4, 5 make a challenge, or final 3, and had a good chance to win. But we'll see. But very impressive by her game. I'm very impressed by her game. Also, a sneaky triple threat. You will look at her and be like, okay, she's good socially and maybe strategically, but she's a physical threat too. You know. Moving on. I gotta put this guy here next. Boston Rob. High tier winner, but not a top tier. Here's why. Played 4 times, only won once, got to the end twice, but lost to his current wife Amber, unfortunately. But pretty good player. He plays to his style and he's able to get to the end, either get to the end with his style or be somebody that's taken out early. And he left the pre-jury stage or pre-merge stage early twice, and even though he was able to get to jury 3 or 4 seasons. Boss Rob is a pretty good player. He's very good at his style of play. Gotta give him credit. Next person, and this is blasphemous, I'm putting him above Boston Rob, but I got to. John Cochran. Here's why. Was able to get to mid-jury his first season, was able to win the second season. Somebody who's very analytical, smart of the game, somebody who's not an obvious social threat, somebody who can win some physical challenge depending on who's left. Can have a potential to be a triple threat, but somebody who is very knowledgeable about the game and knows what his optimal move is, and more times than not execute it. Like flipping on his first season, flipping on his initial tribe so he can get himself farther in the game. More power to him, because I don't think if he got to that, he will win that season anyway, so it's all good. Next person is probably last high tier winner. We're going to put Nick Wilson. A triple threat that, if he can get past the first few rounds, can get very far in his game. Very good socially. Well, actually, decent socially. If he can survive the first few bowls, he can be okay socially. Strategically, pretty good. Physically, if he's at the end game, I think he can be decent physically. Somebody that knows what his optimal move is. Somebody who knows how to control his threat level. Somebody who knows what move to do at the right time. Somebody who I'm very, very big fan of. One of my favorite winners too. Anyways, that being said, let's get to the top tier. Final six. Alright, and sixth best winner, I'll say Poverty, because with her, I think she played 4 times, and other than the winners at war, where she went out pre-merge but still made the jury because of the twist, she always was on the jury. She always at least made the merge, if not won the game, came close to it. Pretty good player, very great socially, decent physically, strategically has some decent strategical mindset, but somebody that's gonna be a huge threat in almost any season she plays. So I cannot put her above the top 5. That's what made it. So moving on, gotta put Jeremy Collins next. Jeremy Collins is the true triple threat. Somebody that's good socially, strategically, physically. People see him as, he's a firefighter. He's somebody that's like loyal to his true allies, somebody that can win the physical challenges when need to, somebody who has a decent strategical mindset, knows how to use things like a meat shield strategy. Like he said, okay, cool, I need to surround myself with bigger threats so they'll look at me. Played that perfectly to Winners of War, it was okay, but to his winning season, Cambodia, played that strategy perfectly. In first season, he realized he couldn't. He learned from that mistake in the first season where he tried to go after the biggest threat instead of working with the biggest threat until he had enough power in the game to go after them. Anyway, Jeremy's a triple threat. That's all I gotta say. And then Sandra, the 2-time winner. Actually, I gotta put Sandra behind Jeremy, but that's okay. Let me put her in between Jeremy and Poverty. Anyways, yeah, Sandra, 2-time winner. Won the first 2 tries there, played 4 times. Because she's a first 2-time winner, I don't think there's ever a chance that she'll get to the end game or win it again. As you see in the Game Changers game, she was targeted early, even though she had a decent control of the tribe. No one's gonna let her get to the merge ever again. And as you see, Winners at War, decent strategically, very good socially, underrated socially. Physically, that ability is not really there, but socially, strategically, has some common sense and has some ability there. So gotta give her credit. So Sandra's number 5, Jeremy's the 4th one. Now we're on top 3. I gotta put Kim Spradlin as the 3rd best winner. She had an impressive showing in One World, but when it was at World, it was meh. And it's not her fault. She's a huge player, so there's no way she's gonna get to the end of the game either unless she wins out. So I think she's a triple threat as well. Very good socially, strategically, very good. Physically, pretty good. She can win all the challenges as long as she has the right mindset and the right allies around her. Can probably win the game again, but at least she made the merge. I think I gotta give her credit there. Now the final 2, the top 2 winners. Got put Sarah Lacina second because Sarah Lacina won once, got to the final 4 if I make a challenge, and then in the first season she at least made a merge before Tony ironically blindsided her. We'll get to Tony in a moment. Somebody who's a underrated triple threat, can be social, very good socially, has ability to make bonds strategically, very good at that, very cutthroat, good mindset, knows how to do the right mood, and can win some physical challenges. One of the most physical players out there. So pretty good winner, knows what to do at the right times. And last, but certainly not least, Tony. Tony's the best player of Survivor, best winner of Survivor. 2-time winner, won an all-winner season, was able to win in Cagayan with his crazy mindset. Game Changers, I throw that out because he was kind of like Richard Hatch a little bit. One of 3 winners, they had no chance, so I can't really use that against him. But in the games where he was playing seriously, in his 2 seasons, he won. And I think the stats speaks for itself. I mean, come on. Tony's the best winner in Survivor history, and he has stats show for it. He's very good strategically. Physically, he's above average. He's shown that he can win immunities, which is good. strategically he's very smart, knows what to do, especially with the Sophie blind side, knows who to get rid of at the right time, and very socially he's pretty solid, so knows who to line up with. Very good winner. He's a top winner here. That's well said. But yeah, thank you guys so much for look at this tier video. This is the tier of survivor winners. May do another tier list coming soon. And yeah, be looking for more videos. Thanks.